Hello and welcome back to another session of Downbelow Unique Discussions.
I'm Ian.
I'm Steve.
Thanks for falling through the cracks with us.
So last time we talked about the world, we talked about the possibility of getting out. And that is also something that is not entirely unique, but still fairly unique in the world of cyberpunk.
Most cyberpunk settings that are in the RPG market, I can think off the top of my head of Shadowrun and the Cyberpunk 2020, 2040, 2077...
Third edition, etc.
etc., etc. The Artelsaurian cyberpunk setting.
Well, basically with a lot of them, once you're in, you're in. It's a lot like being a superhero. You never actually retire.
And really there's no out to get to because there actually isn't this total dichotomy. In our world, in Downbelow, there is a pretty clear dichotomy between people who are part of regular society and people who are out of it and are thus down below.
Newsflash, one of the other unique things about the Downbelow society setting is that most people, the vast majority, really don't want to be there. No matter how much they've found or made a home there, they don't want to be there. They want to be where things work. They want to be where they don't have to worry. They want to be normal.
And other members of the Downbelow economy don't actually necessarily want to keep others who are their friends there, because if somebody is your friend and they get into normal society, they can help you out probably even better than they can now in their current situation, so why would you stop them?
So in a very real sense, this is kind of backwards from a lot of things. If you're a Shadowrunner, you're basically a chrome-wearing superhero. Why would you want to stop that? Sure, it's dangerous, sure, it's illicit, but you'll retire when you're too old, and until then, just ride the thrill. It's the same with Cyberpunk 2020, etc. Once you're in, you're in. You look at a lot of the inspirational fiction behind it, and most of the people who supposedly get out don't so much actually get out of the game as establish temporary or fake civilian identities so they have a place to hide while people who they don't like are looking for them. Here, the whole goal for most people, well, the first goal is to survive, and the second goal for most people who can actually master the first is to extract themselves as much as they can from the world that doesn't work.
And the two major ways out are either establishing valid citizenship or a popular, almost fairy story type one, because of how difficult it is for someone who lives in the Downbelow economy, is Lagrange City.
Yep. There's a couple others. There's various halfway options to get out. For instance, all of the organized crime cartels have basically functioning societies. Some of them are entirely part of the functioning society that just operate on the shady side, others are not. Similarly, there's the almost criminal aspect of proving yourself useful to a government or an intelligence agency in some way so that you get sponsored and picked up by the legitimate side of the shady criminal conspiracy area. But for the most part, if you're looking to do it on your own and you don't want to be beholden to someone, because, let's face it, both of those ways leave you in the pocket. You escape from the pocket of what doesn't work, and they leave you in the pocket of beholden to someone else. If you want to do it on your own, you're looking at either a very difficult task to establish that, yes, you are a legitimate citizen, yes, your needs should and will be met, or the fairy tale of, well, what if I get off Earth entirely?
And these things are difficult enough for someone who has fallen through the cracks that they require the kind of adventuring and the kind of heroic backflips to get through the hoops that make a cyberpunk adventure story interesting. Yep. We talk about, well, you're going to have to establish your identity. You can't just do this by filing forms and going through a boring paperwork story.
If you could, you would.
Yeah, if you could, then there would be, people to help you with that, but that's not working for you. There's some reason or combination of reasons that doesn't work for you. So,
and the two major reasons for that are, reason number one, you fell through the cracks because your needs are not actually being met, even though you are a citizen, and thus you are probably one of the providers who gets a stipend. You're trading that stipend. You're trading your citizenship for the things you need. And reason number 2, you're a non-entity or otherwise persona non grata in several systems, and thus unable to simply show up and assert your personhood.
So one way or another, you're going to need the talents of somebody who works around the system and works outside the system to help you get what you need within the system, because the system isn't getting it to you through its normal channels.
Right.
And that means that you need to do cyberpunky things like deal with criminals, like maybe you get into a shootout or at least into a standoff with guns situation. Maybe you get into some fist fights, some sneaking around late at night, all the kind of interesting things that make a cyberpunk story go.
Now, we're not actually going to talk about why LaGrange City Escape is a fairy tale, because we're going to save that for the next time I have to talk about this. One of the other big differences between this and other situations is there is no space opera here. That's actually a discussion for its own video, because it'll eat up way more than the time we have. But I wanted to let you know, no, we're not forgetting about the second option here. That's just going to take its own time.
And we might make a space opera game using this system later, and it might even follow off of the Downbelow setting, but it's not this game.
Exactly. But suffice it to say that the reason LaGrange City is a fairy tale escape for most members of Downbelow is this isn't space opera. This isn't somewhere that Luke Skywalker can pawn his land speeder for a ticket to the stars. It's just, there are reasons, and we'll get there.
All right. Thanks for staying with us through this discussion of our setting and why it works the way it is, why we're making these choices.
Next time, we're going to go back to System for a visit.
And then we'll come back to LaGrange City.
And here we are.
See you tomorrow.